Okay, welcome to another episode of the Canucks Chatter podcast. I'm Rafal, that's Victor. Again, you can find us at the Canucks Chatter on YouTube, Instagram, and X. So to recap this week here of the Vancouver Canucks, they pick up a couple of wins. I think the fans and the team probably feels a little bit better about itself now that the records, got some more W's on there. They played 6 games this season now, 3 wins, 1 loss, 2 overtime losses, 8 points. But they're behind the powerhouse of the Pacific Division, the Calgary Flames, unfortunately. A couple of wins. I was looking at watching the games in a sense that, they face teams that they probably should have beat, but you still have to go out there and do it, right? Like the Fly, I mean, their 2 tough games this season so far have been in Florida, in Tampa, and the Panthers. Lost 1, won 1. How do you feel from going from last week to this week?
Never really jumped off the whole panicking thing yet. I wasn't ready to panic. Just, losing to Philly sucked, and that comeback win for Calgary wasn't cool. But they got points out of it, and a couple wins here, and all of a sudden everything is rosy again. It's beginning of the season. They're treading water, which is good for them. That's exactly where you want it to be, working out the kinks, considering they have 2 new guys who they're trying to assimilate into the top 6, which is big, and they didn't really play together. And already part of those, Heinen's already been taken off that top line and moved to a third line, which has worked out. It's only a small sample size, but right now that third line of Bluger, Heinen, and Heinen has worked out really well, along with Kiefer Sherwood, the league leader in hits.
Yeah, I like that line. I mean, obviously, Heinen put up a couple goals there. It's looking good. There's a couple places I think we can go. There's obviously, I mean, we could. I don't know what you want to get into. There's that whole a lot of Twitter or X, I guess X talk about the Pettersson Twitter guy. Yeah, me too. It's saying X is weird. But I guess it's been like that for some time.
Won't get that from me.
Okay. But that platform, a lot of talk about Pettersson, but this time kind of in a different light, not necessarily his play, just the media, him versus the media versus, and then the battle with JT Miller. I don't know. We can start many different ways. I don't think we need to, talk about his play. I mean, overall, I think the last couple of games, he's looked more engaged. He's looked better.
Yep.
Which is a good sign. Points, aren't there, but, hopefully that they'll come.
Working well with Garland and Höglander. He worked well with Höglander, helped Hoagie get 24 goals last year, and Garland has outgrown the third line and looking at home, helping that play driver on that second line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think better. I mean, obviously, I think we know, all Canucks fans, and I'm sure Pettersson knows himself, that there's still more to give. We know ultimately we know what he's capable of. So we're trying to see that part come out. But hopefully, over the course of the next couple of weeks, we can start to see that, because it's been some time. All right, I might as well jump into it. There was, first off, what do you make of the JT Miller and his little I guess kerfuffle, whatever you call it, during practice?
I mean, it's nothing. They've already both have said that they get along, but they're not best friends, and that happens. One guy's more laid back, and the other's go, and they're not always going to get along. Like they're not cancers to the locker room to each other, where it's Team PD, Team Miller, and they're a family. They're going to fight every now and then, and I like the fact that PD showed Jam saying, "Hey, back off. I'll do this my way." And good on Miller to push him as well. They both need it. I'm sure they've already said, forget about it. Whatever has happened, and I'm moving past it. It's nothing. Teammates are gonna fight. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that as well. I think I think the sign of having a competitive practice is where guys sometimes get underneath each other's skins. We've seen it happen with other teams. I don't think, I can't remember a time where there was like a scuffle in practice between other teams, and then I don't know, where a huge rift happens and it breaks the team apart. Usually, it's just it's just a little battle that gets too far. Maybe there's a little frustration. But in this particular instance, what's kind of interesting, because it is two teammates just battling, but I don't know if you saw some of the stuff that, I think it was Elliot Friedman said, and also Rick Dhaliwal. Couple of things. I think, was it reported I believe it was last week, where was it? Elliot Friedman was talking about how Pettersson, like, going the tough love with him is not doesn't always work out, and I think over when management, I think this is coming from Friedman. I should probably back up my sources, but don't put me to the fire to that. Somebody
okay.
reputable.
For me, Friedman's a great reporter. There's no he gets a lot of scoops, but when it comes to the Canucks, the East Coast often gets things wrong with this team. So nothing against Friedman. That I'm going to take what he reports with a grain of salt, because most often the players even rebuted often. They're like, no, that never happened, or no, it's nothing. And so, yeah, maybe Petey's not exactly the guy you rile him, but he's not soft.
Yeah.
Every player is gonna needs to be coached differently. You can't coach the same one, and it's literally just nitpicking at this point. I'm like, just let the guy play. He does deserve the criticism because he doesn't make $7.2 million anymore. He's now making 11.2.
Or 11.6, right?
6. Yeah, he's gonna he deserves the criticism when it comes to be. But
got to be
when
better,
you're
for sure.
nitpicking every little thing, no, you don't need.
Well, I wonder where
that's just going too far.
Yeah, like with Elliot Friedman, like, who knows? Someone must have told him something. I don't think he's making it up himself. I don't think that,
just it's just picking and choosing. It's like when someone says, I'm a picky eater, but I don't eat olives, and they're like, this person hates pizza or something like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Well, first off, maybe we should say, in case anybody doesn't know what exactly Elliot Friedman said. He said that the Canucks management, along the lines of after they signed him to the contract, they kind of wanted to toughen him up and find a way, but they didn't want to do that through management. They kind of wanted the players and the team to kind of get that out of him. And maybe that's JT Miller going in there and kind of, trying to get that, I guess, the more tough physical play out of him. Again, we don't know. None of us are in the room. None of the reporters are in the room. They just ask the questions. Maybe there's some truth to it, but I don't know.
It's somewhere in between. But if something does that I think that's going to fracture the room more. We're saying, hey, you're a stooge for management coming to do this. Yes, and that person could be like, some people would agree with the one who called them the stooge, or some will back the other, and then all of a sudden the room is split, and that's wrong. So that's where I think the stuff like that, when the Eastern media coming with all the negative stuff, they know that, I'm sure they're good at it, but just sometimes because they don't come out west ever, so they don't have boots on the ground like a Farhan or Jeff Pad or Drancer who are there. The players know them,
right?
Like the players, they know about Friedman, but just because he does a lot, or even Drager, and they're not out here. If you see the TSN guys, they rarely come up with, they don't start any of these stories about the Canucks. They go with the general consensus, where a lot of guys like Friedman and Frank Saravelli will pick and choose and start stuff that's not really correct. I'm sure it's the same thing in Edmonton and Calgary when the Eastern scribes talk about their team. We love hearing when the Eastern guys talk about our team, but when they start stuff like this, it's just causing more, and then everyone has to pick it up, and it's the media's job to talk about it, but it kind of just, that's not how it is. You're just throwing flames on the fire and hoping you get something.
This also from Rick Dhaliwal when he was on the Halford and Bro show.
Rough.
Bruff. I don't know. I read it. I looked at the words, and that's the sound that came out of my mouth. He said rumors of these two on Miller and Pettersson. He said rumors of these two players having a rift has been out there since the Green days. Boudreau as well. The team is well aware of it. The agents are well aware of it. If you have to live under a rock, if you haven't heard about the possible rift, so maybe there is different styles.
The two of them have talked about it publicly. So it's nothing new.
Yeah. I mean, look, he'll never be in the room and know what's going on with the team, but definitely didn't feel like it was a problem at all last year. I think at the end of the day, like Pettersson has to be better, right? Like he's taking steps, and what we're gonna judge. I know right now we're talking about points during the regular season, and 100-point guy, maybe now you're not seeing that or whatever. But ultimately, the most important thing is how is he going to play during the playoffs? That's all that matters. That's all that, at the end of the day, if you have a 120, 30-point season and then in the playoffs you're a non-factor, you don't do anything, nobody really cares. So until it's the playoffs time. Yeah, exactly. So it's until that you go to the playoffs, if he has a poor season, but he's noticeable and a driver of their team in the playoffs, people are going to forget about this regular season, like
exactly
fast, right? So that's we got to wait and see what happens then.
Yeah. He didn't have a great playoff, but his first time in the playoffs in the bubble, he was dominant. He and Bo Horvat absolutely carried the team for 2 rounds, along with
For
Bubble
sure.
Demko.
Weird time. I don't know if I can it's just different. I don't know. It's hard to.
Yeah, it's different.
It's something, but it's
Still played 3 rounds of playoff hockey, and he was dominant in that bubble.
But there was no
Minnesota couldn't stop him. St. Louis couldn't stop him. Vegas had troubles with him.
There was no travel though, right? During that bubble, no travel.
Yeah. No fans.
No fans. But the travel does something to you, right? Going into but like
playoff hockey is playoff hockey.
Playoff hockey, but there wasn't as much momentum swings because when you have a home building that's going crazy, it like the Canucks talked about it this past playoffs and how they were feeding off the energy from the crowd. You can't there's no way to replicate that. It still was playoffs. The players, obviously played hard. That's their job. They're getting paid money to do that. But I don't know. It was a little bit. That time is a little bit different. So
I don't know. Still playoffs. Yeah, it's just a different style. But he proved himself that round, and he wasn't there last year. Whether injuries, personal stuff, he needed to be better. But he still has to get there first. The playoffs aren't there yet, and
that goes for the whole team, right?
Into the season, all this about this and that. 6 games. One person said, "Oh, he's a 100-point guy. He doesn't have that right now. He's got 2 points." I don't know how he can get 100 points after 6 games. I don't think I could do that at playing NHL on PlayStation. Easy mode.
That's.
I think I might. Maybe if I put line changes off, rookie mode, and put all my sliders up to 100 and the computers to 0,
then it's no fun.
I might be able to do that.
It's no fun then, though.
Exactly. I mean, look, I don't know why they're asking him to be a 100-point guy after 6 games. That's impossible.
No, you can't. I think they're just looking at the average of 6 games, putting that against 82. Yeah. But it's it's
prime Gretzky couldn't get 100 points in 6 games.
Yeah, no, I mean that's not
scoring against goalies who would let goals along the ice go in.
Yeah, no, that's not possible. I mean, look, they only have 1 regulation loss. I don't think anyone's panicking. They're, it's the contract, right? That you're trying to get your dollar value, but there's still time and exactly. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's just 6 games. I would say it's the playoffs in the past latter half of the last season. So it's not a small sample size.
That was last season, so
still the same player, right? So I mean, that's but again, like we're talking about, we got to give it time.
2 different seasons now. Would I want him to have a better start? Yeah, he definitely needs to have a better start. But this is the 24-25 season. The 23-24 season is over. That doesn't matter anymore. Or he does need to be better. Like, I'm not going to use last year's stats against him. If you do, okay, he was a point a game player last year. How come no one's talking about that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Why fans are kind of all over it. But what was I going to say? At what point, like how many games into the season, if things, let's say, don't progress enough where he's like,
The new year for me.
11.6 that long? Oh boy, that's a you'd wait. You think that long before there's some?
You gotta get
40 games. I give him like 20, 25 games if he hasn't gotten some in 25 games.
You're not wrong on that either. Yeah.
That's
the new year
time.
Is always the new calendar. Because a couple years ago, he was going through injuries and he had struggled for the first few months, and the calendar flipped the new year. All of a sudden, we got dominant alien PD back, and then he went on a tear to end the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you wonder if the puck just starts going in the net. I mean, if he just scores a goal, like I think that there's a chance that can just propel him to just a handful of games of just, when you haven't seen the puck go in the net and the points aren't there, when you're a guy getting paid that much and know you have to, it's great that you're winning, but you also want to get the points, right? That helps you.
He's holding the stick. Against Philly, he had a prime chance to score, but he ended up passing the Höglander who scored. I have nothing wrong with that.
No, good pass. Goal. Yeah.
Oh, he drew 3 players to him, and that left Höglander wide open.
Mm-hmm.
If he was a terrible player, why would they bring 3 guys to him? Yeah, Philly's not exactly a juggernaut, but still.
No. Well, I mean, no one's. I don't know anyone, or I hope no one's saying that he's a terrible player, because I don't think so at all. I think it's just I'm just judging him against the cap hit, but it's super early.
There's been tweets about him saying him being a terrible player.
I mean, that's way too. I mean,
put Arshdeep Bains. Nothing against Arshdeep Bains, but putting him in that exact same situation, I'm pretty sure 3 Flyers are not going to converge around him.
No, right? You need to. We know it's like if you're not getting 100 points in the NHL by mistake, right? Like it's just not happening. He's a great player. It's just, it could be a lot of things. I think I was listening to a podcast.
He needs to be better. Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast today, just saying like, sometimes when you do sign, that kind of a contract, you like we've talked about, sometimes you just grip the stick a little too hard. You want things to go a certain way, and
you do too much instead of just letting it flow.
And do too much when people see you, it's doing the opposite. It's like you're not doing enough. Because as soon as you're thinking, it's like, you got to work off of instinct.
One guy tried to say every time PD touches the puck on Saturday that they should cheer and let a big cheer from them. No, don't need to do that. That's too much.
I know, we have to talk about it. It's a podcast, but at the end of the day, this is a team sport, and all that ultimately matters is a team winning games, right? Like, if he helps them do that, good, right?
If he was such a liability, they wouldn't have made the second round of the playoffs, taken the Stanley Cup finalists with the best player on the planet to 7 games, and he was a part of that. Did he produce as much as he should have? No, he didn't. But was he part of the team? Yes. Was he a liability? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I wanted to talk about is obviously Demko's injured. The timeline, there is no timeline. It feels like we still don't know. I guess it would be more worrisome if Vancouver wasn't getting pretty good goaltending from, what was supposed to be their third goalie, but now he's for right now he's like their starter. Yeah, exactly. He's their starter right now, playing well. I was looking at Shilov's, because he was supposed to be their backup. Only played 2 games, but 4.5 goals against average, .827 save percentage. Hasn't been good through 2 games.
I think most of that was the third. It was the third period in Calgary where his stats were awful. Like against Tampa, he wasn't bad, and he was for 2 periods against Calgary. He was pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know how much he faced, but I mean 43 shots. That's how he has so many shots he faced in 2 games. That's not crazy amount of shots. Some 827 is no good. I mean, that's no good. That's 2 games.
Calgary in the third period and overtime is, I don't know. I'm sure he did not make too many saves there.
Yeah. And again,
Those,
he's asked to do a lot. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
he's only 23. Like goalies typically don't hit anywhere. You know, if you're a forward or and you're 23, you know, sometimes it's you don't have as much patience. But goalies typically they don't find it till mid to late 20s.
And he lost the season essentially during the COVID year.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Right.
played a game that year.
That was 2020, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
one game in the AHL. Yeah, had a 920
He
save
played
percentage in that one game.
yeah. I think he might have gotten a couple games overseas, but he did not see very much.
Yeah, and goalies need to play to develop. That's why it's it's a lot to ask for such a young kid to be
He's
like, hey, our starter's gone, so
he's waiver eligible still. So if and whenever Demko comes back, you can send Shilos down to Abbotsford, get some games in there because Lankinen has shown that he can. Right now, he's holding the fort down.
yeah.
That's all you can ask of him.
Well, I guess the question is how long can you keep playing that way? I mean, let me check right now. What's the most number of games he's played in a year? He's played 37
Probably
games the most.
with Chicago a couple years ago.
Yeah, Chicago. The most games he played was 37.
On a bad team.
On a bad team, like a save percentage, some years isn't. No, he played in Nashville. The Nashville save percentage isn't bad. I mean, yeah. I mean, this year's 941. So if you can play like that all year, then you'll take it. But I don't know if that's sustainable.
Demko can take his time.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that's sustainable, but I mean, he's 29 years old. He's where he's at, right? Like he's in the prime of his career as a goaltender, and hopefully he can hold the fort.
Guru Kevin Woodley and Greg Ballack said that they really liked him, and they said there was a lot of stuff going on out there, and that he's only scratched the surface, and that's why Ian Clark pushed to have him signed, because they saw something in him that they could work with, and that there's a high trajectory there that maybe other teams didn't. So, and it's coming to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, his save percentage hasn't been bad the past couple of years. It's been above 900, 908 last year, 916. 1 year where it was down, he played, I guess, 32 games, 891, but that was on the Blackhawks, so, take that with a grain of salt, I guess. Yeah, he's looked good. Do you think if the playoffs were to start and for whatever reason Demko, let's say, gets injured or he can't play game one, is there any worries?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. Just because, that's
Kevin Lankinen right now is playing at an unbelievable level, but playoffs a whole different level. And again, we're 6 games into the year. There's lots of time left. Spencer Martin a few years ago, after a small sample size, looked like he was going to carry the load to be a good backup, ended up really struggling with the team and lost his job as the backup and got sent back down. Canucks just did not have goaltending with Demko hurt. Halak struggled. Martin struggled. So lots of time left. I'm hoping Lankinen can keep this up, because we don't know when Demko's coming back, and I still have faith in Shilovs too, because he just has to work on tracking the puck from the blue line, because that seems to be the big weakness, where he's letting those goals in, and if he can improve on those, it's a great 1-2 tandem right now.
Yeah, if they can hold the fort for until whenever Demko comes back, because they're going to need, if they want to go far in the playoffs, I think they're going to need Demko, right? Like, but that still got a lot of time, a lot of kinks to iron out till then. Taking a look at their schedule here, what do they got? They got the Penguins,
Carolina, and Jersey.
So outside the Penguins, who I don't think are very good, unfortunately. But the Hurricanes are a good team. The Devils are a fast team. So those should be some
goaltending now.
Yeah. When Markstrom plays, they got a good goaltending. When he doesn't play,
I don't know. Jake Allen's not terrible. He's a good backup.
Historically, he has been a great backup. Pittsburgh
should not be an issue anymore in Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, that's what killed them last year. Really, they had a fine team, but goaltending, it's just they had. I think could have been the worst goaltending in the league, or bottom 3. And that jet killed them. That they didn't make the playoffs because of
It'd
that.
be nice to see all three Hughes brothers out there together.
Yeah.
I'll be going.
Yeah.
I'll be going to 2 of those 3 games.
Oh, are you going to the one
Yeah,
on?
I'm going to Pittsburgh and Jersey.
Oh, nice, awesome. I guess my tickets in the mail, or oh yeah, no, that's a good games to go to. Yeah, we'll see, and then they go into the California trip. But yeah, those are 2 games because some of the teams that they faced maybe are not they're non-playoff teams. Philadelphia, Chicago, they're not making playoffs. I don't even know what to think about the Calgary Flames right now because they're playing great, but like they have some NHL players, but like
I wouldn't say they're playing great. They're doing enough to win, which is all you can ask for.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say for their standards, though, they're playing.
Yeah, they're like, they don't play with the lead. It's a lot of comeback wins, and
yeah, it's not the recipe for long-term success for sure.
They're not going out there leading 3-1 every game. It's been tight, but you play the games you played, and they're doing a great job winning.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get those points any way you can. Excuse me. Yeah, it's you can't take your. There's a lot of there's bad teams, but there's some parity in this league. So if you try to take a night off against a bad team, they can make you pay.
Yeah. You can't make the playoffs after 6 games, but you're closer to missing the playoffs after 6 games than that.
Yeah,
the Canucks have proven many years a bad start's gotten them such a hole where they've had to play 700 hockey the rest of the way, and they couldn't. Yeah, they weren't a very good team, but still, expecting a team to play 700 hockey is tough. Even Edmonton's start last year might have cost them a Stanley Cup because they had to win 16 in a row to get to where they were.
Yeah, I mean and what they did was extremely rare. That's historically, if we're looking at other teams like the Ottawa Senators in the Eastern Conference, like that's usually what kills them is that they have terrible Octobers, Novembers, and then they start playing well, but eventually you just can't catch up, right? Like, and I wonder what that means about the Nashville Predators, who are not. I mean, they had a good game. They had a 4-0 win. I think it was against Boston, I believe.
Yeah. Dallas,
so
maybe.
It was Boston.
Look, a few years ago in St. Louis, they were awful to start until the new year. I remember.
Oh yeah, where they won the cup, right? The St. Louis Blues. That was that was
the Canucks
crazy.
Were awful one year, and it was a December game. I went to it, and there happened to be a mom and daughter who were St. Louis fans. They're like, "Oh, very random," and and Vancouver won. Like, man, these are 2 awful teams. And then next thing you know, St. Louis is in the finals, because we were going. How is
they won?
St. Louis team that was so bad losing to awful Canucks team ended up going all the way?
That's honestly like if that. I mean, just in itself, but if that was let's say that's a Canadian team, Vancouver Canucks, that are last place in the NHL halfway through the season, somehow crawl their way to get the last playoff spot and actually win the cup like that. I don't think that story gets talked about enough. Like that's incredible for that to happen.
Even the last wild card team. I think they comfortably made the playoffs.
I can't remember. I think they were one of the wild card teams. I forget. That was 2019.
Yeah, but they made it comfortably though. I remember that. They weren't fighting down to the last moment because everyone was saying, "Man, how the hell did these guys make it so far?"
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. But that's we're saying, that's rare, right? Like, so these teams, they need to, like, Nashville's 1-5. They finally picked up a win, but as of right now, they're facing the Blackhawks and they're down 1-0 or 2-0. Gold 2-0 to Chicago. So I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, headed back to the Canucks. I know they recently just sent down Eric Brandstrom, but that's more of a paper transaction to accumulate cap space. But he's looked really solid in the few games he's played. His ability to carry the puck and make that pass has really shown. Has been able to stabilize the third pair a little bit, help Desharnais refine his game, and he still makes mistakes, but having a second puck carrier on another pair has really helped out the transition game.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last week, right? That they have a lot of big bodies that maybe you have long, go able to try to clear out the front of the net, but you need some of those guys to move the puck out of the zone and make that first pass. So, and he's that type
Yeah.
of player. We'll see where it goes during the season. And I think, I don't know about you, but I think at some point, probably towards the trade deadline, they're going to have to bring in a defenseman at least
Yeah.
one. Like you need
Yeah,
depth on that
a
on the blue line
right-handed
players.
guy who can move the puck is what I would ask for.
Yeah, that's
Because
going to be a
right
hard one.
now, when Forbort comes back into the lineup, someone's got to sit out. It might be Desharnais, and either Susie, Brandstrom, or Forbort's going to have to play the offside.
Yeah.
I think Susie and Brandstrom have done it before, and maybe even Forbort. So, but some defensemen at that level struggle to play on that offside, and yeah, it's something you're not used to.
Yeah, especially
We'll
like
see.
yeah. I think it's just like what you're saying. Like what makes it so hard too is like playing on that offside. It's just getting rid of the puck faster. Like your handedness is not towards the board, so it's a little bit harder, right? You have to try to play on your backhander a lot, or you have to take an extra second to put it to your forehand to get the puck out or make that first pass. But I mean, getting a right shot defenseman seems like every team in the league needs that. It's just such a rare commodity. So there's going to be a bidding war come the trade deadline. So hopefully, Canucks can try to snag at least one.
I'm a right shot puck moving defenseman.
Yeah, all right. There you go. Heard it here first. Thank you for Canucks. Might give you a call.
I don't win any battles in front of the net. In fact, I probably lose every battle in front of the net.
There'd just be no battle in front of the net.
No, I would just let them sit there, and I'd try to just stop the pass from getting there. That's how I play. Like I know I can't move them, so there's no point in trying.
No, I mean, a lot of those defensemen in the league are monstrous. Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I don't have anything else really to add. It would just be interesting to watch some of the games this week. Carolina and New Jersey. Those are two games I would have my eye out for. Yeah, anything else you want?
Here, here, just give shout outs to this team. Kiefer Sherwood, who's turning into a quick fan favorite after 6 games, leading the league in hits, and plays a hard, aggressive style.
Good pickup. Good ad.
Yeah, I remember seeing him during the playoffs. I'm like, this guy's pretty annoying to play against.
Yeah, I think that's what some of the players were saying, right? That he's annoying to play against, which is, kind of the ultimate compliment, pretty much.
Didn't know how much offensive skill. He still hasn't shown a whole lot, but treading water, and they were able to get on the score sheet against Chicago. Hopefully they can keep doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's looked good, I think.
There's a chance they could get the matchup against Malkin, who's off to a good start, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, Malkin, he's looking great at his age. And, when Joshua comes back, we'll see where he slots in too. And I think that could be
$3 million fourth line player to start right now.
Yeah, I think. I don't know if he can stay there that long with that cap hit, but yeah, we'll see. They'll have to move some stuff around, but that'll come when the time comes, I guess.
Good thing they're not cash strapped right now at the cap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what this management has shown is they're not afraid to make a move.
Yeah.
The Kuzmenko deal, it's like didn't work out. Guess what? We'll move on from it. We'll go on. The McKay, this management group was the team that gave that deal. Yeah, they paid They paid him a lot of money, and also had to pay a lot to get rid of his contract. But they're not afraid to own up to their mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's much better than the previous regime.
Yeah, who doubled down on their mistakes.
Yeah, yeah. You think this is bad? Well, I got something cooking.
Yeah. We're not a Stanley Cup team, but guess what? I'm going to trade a first-round pick just to get a couple dollars, to lose the cap space for 1 year.
Yeah.
And take someone on with an albatross contract for another 7.
Yeah, it's things are looking a lot better for Vancouver. It'll be interesting to see. I think what happens throughout the season, how the standings shake up, and at the end of the day, right? Like we talked about, you got to get in the playoffs first. So that's just the focus: playing good hockey now until April, and see what happens. All right, yeah, I'm good on my end. Anything that you need to to bring up,
Yep.
or
Excited for this coming week games and start getting the team into the heart of the season.
Yeah. Amen to that. All right. Yeah. So enjoy those games. You're going to be at 2 of them. That's it for us here. We'll be back next week. As I said at the start, follow us.
Canucks Chatter on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. YouTube, where you'll catch our video, and I'm personally at Some Deviant. You can at me if you want. You can yell at me.
Sure. You know what? Give him all your hot takes for the Canucks and send it to him. That's it for us. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week.
Go Canucks, go.